Imagine you're holding a piece of paper in your hand, a simple $100 trillion bill. To most of the world, it's just currency. But to the architects of the global power structure, that green paper is the primary reason the United States can spend trillions of dollars it doesn't actually have. For 50 years, a secret arrangement has forced every nation on Earth to play by Washington's rules, effectively turning the U.S. dollar into digital gold, backed not by precious metals, but by the very lifeblood of the modern world, oil. This is the story of the petrodollar, a $100 trillion secret that built an empire, and why, for the first time in half a century, that empire is facing a countdown. Before we dive into the secret meetings and the massive economic shift happening right now, do me a quick favor. Hit that subscribe button and ring the bell. At Civic Chronicle, we break down the complex forces shaping our world so you can stay ahead of the curve. Your support helps us keep these deep dives coming. To understand how we got here, we have to go back to 1971. The United States was in a bind. The Vietnam War was draining the treasury, and the old gold standard, where every dollar was backed by physical gold, was collapsing. President Richard Nixon did the unthinkable. He cut the tie. Suddenly, the dollar was backed by nothing but faith and credit. Inflation soared, and the world began to lose its grip. The U.S. needed a new anchor, something every single person on the planet required to survive and thrive. They found it in the black gold of the Middle East. In 1974, a secret deal was struck. U.S. Treasury Secretary William Simon flew to Saudi Arabia with a proposal that would change history. The deal was simple but brilliant. The U.S. would provide the Saudi kingdom with military protection and advanced weaponry. In exchange, Saudi Arabia, the king of OPEC, would price all its oil exports exclusively in U.S. dollars. But there was a second, even more important clause. The Saudis would take those billions of petrodollars and invest them right back into U.S. government debt. Think about the genius of this system. If Japan wants to buy oil from Saudi Arabia, they can't use yen. They have to sell yen, buy US dollars, and then pay for the oil. This created an artificial, never-ending global demand for the dollar. Because every country needs oil to run their factories, cars, and military, every country is forced to keep massive piles of US dollars in their central banks. This is what economists call exorbitant privilege. It allowed the US to print money, run massive deficits, and fund a global military presence, all while the rest of the world absorbed the inflation. But here is where the story takes a turn. For decades, this system was the undisputed law of the land. If a leader tried to break away, like Saddam Hussein in Iraq or Muammar Gaddafi in Libya, they often met a violent end. The message was clear: you do not touch the petrodollar. However, the world of 2026 looks very different from 1974. The unipolar world where America calls all the shots is fading, and a new group of challengers is rising. China, now the world's largest oil importer, is no longer content playing by Washington's rules. They've spent the last few years setting up the Petroyuan. They are telling oil producers, sell us your oil and we'll pay you in yuan, which you can then trade for gold on the Shanghai exchange. It's a direct hit to the heart of the petrodollar system. Even more shocking, Saudi Arabia, the original partner in the 1974 deal, is listening. The kingdom has joined the BRICS alliance and is actively exploring selling oil in currencies other than the dollar. This isn't just about spreadsheets and exchange rates. If the petrodollar dies, the American way of life changes overnight. Without that constant global demand for the dollar, the U.S. can no longer export its inflation. Interest rates could skyrocket. The cost of everything from gas to groceries would surge as the dollar's purchasing power evaporates. We're talking about a fundamental shift in how the world works, a move from a dollar-dominated system to a multipolar one where the U.S. is just one player among many. So why does this matter to you? Because we are living through the end of an era. The $100 trillion secret is out, and the protection the U.S. once offered is being weighed against the benefits of joining a new economic bloc. As the recycled oil money stops flowing into U.S. treasuries, the government will be forced to make hard choices about spending, taxes, and the national debt. The empire built on oil and ink is facing its greatest test. The question isn't if the system will change, but how fast. We're seeing the emergence of digital currencies, gold-backed trades, and bilateral agreements that bypass the dollar entirely. It's a transition that could take years, or it could happen gradually, then suddenly, as the old saying goes. Either way, the era of the absolute petrodollar is coming to a close. I want to hear from you down in the comments. Do you think the U.S. can find a new anchor for the dollar? Or are we witnessing the beginning of a total global financial reset? Let's get a discussion going below. If you found this breakdown helpful, please share this video with someone who needs to understand how the global money game is actually played. It's the only way we can grow this community and keep bringing you the truth. Thanks for sticking with us through this deep dive. At Civic Chronicle, we believe that an informed citizen is the greatest threat to an unjust system. Keep watching, keep questioning, and we'll see you in the next one.